My name is Naomi Mora, the Executive Director of Flone Initiative. We are here in Makûeni after launching the baseline survey on the status of vulnerable groups in public transport. We found that there is need for inclusive transport infrastructure, also the need for public awareness campaigns on how to prevent sexual harassment and how to support and interact with persons with disability. We've also highlighted the need for safe school zones, especially for children going to school, and also for older children in high schools who are still commuting from school to home. In addition, we cannot forget the older persons and their need for more accessible and affordable public transport systems.
After we commenced the 16 days of activism, my own view was that we should also launch this report because it's part of sensitization on gender matters, particularly on what now appears to be a sector which has never been tackled, that there's harassment of women, particularly in public transport, and for a very strange reason, this only happens in the evening. So the report details the trends from the interviews they have made. So in terms of our agenda on activism itself in this issue, it has become important for us to start addressing it. That is why I've said that this sector, people are not speaking about it. You do not have cases of harassment in bus parks, either bodabodas or matatus, and it's something that we've got to do sensitization, and we speak about it loudly. So Makûeni we are fortunate enough to have launched this report within the 16 days because this becomes also an action point of how we address the transport sector. It has also come to pass that from the interviews that even our schoolgirls are being harassed in this transport sector, particularly when they are leaving school. And therefore, even with the sector here, we have decided that we will involve both the enforcement and we will involve the police. When schools close, we will make it deliberate that we check in the public spaces so that the children can go home, and also involve the sector to ensure that no girl should find themselves in very unfamiliar territory because they are late or something like that. For purposes of our policies, we have a policy on sexual harassment, we have a policy on disability, and we have a policy on transport. This document, as a report, has shown gaps in all those policies, and I've directed that we must revise our policy on transport, sexual harassment, and disability, because it must then conform. I didn't even confess, but I must confess that my office is not compliant. And I want to find a method that we can comply. A person living with disability or with a wheelchair cannot get to my office, which doesn't look good. On the other sectors, on employment, we also want to interrogate why only 4% of the women are employed in this sector. And this is something we want to discuss because they are losing in the sector. Yet, in fact, from their report, the majority of the people using public transport are women. So it occurs to us that, in fact, we should get women to be the people who are manning the bus stops or are the ones in the matatus, because then part of it will address the question of harassment in the public sector. And of course, public spaces and schools, they have done their research. Children are feeling unsafe going home at night, in the morning, particularly because there are no signs, there are no walkways, and in a process that NTSA has started of having reflectors for reflector bags for these children would avoid the accident we saw along Kiboezi-Kitui Road about a month ago. Those are part of very detailed findings that we have on this sector so that we can accommodate them. We have also liaised with the transport sector to ensure that they are sensitive to people who are blind, who cannot hear, and persons with on wheelchairs when they get to our bus parks. So if we can, a seat should be reserved for these people, the same way you reserve parking lots, so that then they can be accommodated quickly, and we can have a person. They have requested specifically to have a person in the bus park who understands either sign language or who can understand the various disabilities of our people.